William Carter stood by the large window overlooking the vast chamber of the Galactic Council. His face showed no emotion, but his hands were tight fists at his sides. For 70 years, humans had worked alongside the older species of the galaxy. They had shared medical discoveries, engineering breakthroughs, and had joined peacekeeping missions across dozens of star systems. Yet here they were. Today the Council would vote on Resolution 3197B, a measure that would limit human expansion to only 3 star systems. 3 out of the thousands that filled the galaxy, all because the older races feared how quickly humans learned and adapted. "It is time for the vote," announced Chairperson Val Sheen, her silvery skin reflecting the soft blue lights of the chamber. "On Resolution 3197B, to ensure balanced development among council members." Carter almost laughed at the wording. Balanced development was a pretty way of saying keep humans contained. He glanced at his team. 5 men and women who had spent years trying to build bridges with alien cultures. Their faces showed the same understanding. This vote was not about balance. It was about fear. One by one, the council members voted. The Moran representative, Silkthar, was the first to vote yes, his multiple eyes blinking with satisfaction. Then came the Drex, the Solari, and the Ventari. Each yes vote echoed through the chamber. Only the Trell, the Novan, and surprisingly, the Xinthu voted against the resolution. These 3 species had worked most closely with humans and had seen firsthand what cooperation could bring. The vote stands at 12 in favor, 3 opposed. Val Sheen announced. Resolution 3197B passes. A murmur ran through the gallery where reporters and diplomats watched. Carter took a deep breath and stepped forward to the speaker's platform. This moment had been planned for months, ever since intelligence suggested which way the vote would go. "Earth thanks the Council for its transparent process," he began, his voice steady. The formal words were empty, but tradition demanded them. "We have heard the concerns of our galactic neighbors. We have listened to fears about our rapid advancement and expansion." Carter paused, then reached up to his formal robes. Everyone watched as he slowly unpinned the Earth insignia, a blue and green globe surrounded by olive branches. "Earth withdraws from the Galactic Council, effective immediately." Gasps filled the chamber. Several council members rose to their feet, tentacles and appendages gesturing in alarm. "We will honor our existing treaties," Carter continued, ignoring the growing noise. "But consider this our formal resignation. Humanity will forge its own path among the stars." Before anyone could respond, Carter turned and walked toward the exit. His team fell in behind him, each removing their own Earth insignias. The sound of their footsteps seemed unusually loud in the stunned silence. As they reached the grand doors, Silkthar found his voice. "This is highly irregular. The Council has not recognized this withdrawal." Carter didn't bother to turn around. "We don't need your recognition anymore." The doors closed behind the human delegation, with a quiet but final thud. Aboard the ESA Intrepid, Admiral Lisa Donovan sat in her command chair, waiting. The ship hovered at the edge of Galactic Council space, ready to move the moment orders came through. Her communication officer turned from his station. "Admiral, incoming message. It's coded Stardust Protocol." Lisa's heart thumped hard in her chest. Stardust Protocol. The words they had all been dreading and preparing for. It meant Earth had withdrawn from the Council, and everything would change. "Confirm the code," she said, her voice betraying none of her feelings. "Confirmed, Admiral. It's authentic." Lisa nodded and stood up. The bridge crew watched her, their faces showing a mix of worry and determination. "Send the signal to all Earth ships," she ordered. "Stardust Protocol is now active. I want all vessels to proceed to their designated positions according to Phase 1 of the contingency plan." "What about the Council patrol ships, Admiral?" asked her second-in-command. "They're monitoring our position." Lisa looked at the tactical display showing 3 Council vessels at standard patrol distance. "Let them watch. They'll soon have much bigger concerns than a few human ships changing position." As the Intrepid's engines hummed to life, Lisa thought about what was coming. The Council thought humans were dangerous because of their ambition. They had no idea what humans were capable of when truly threatened. And threats were coming that would make today's political games seem meaningless. "Set course for the Arcturus checkpoint," she ordered. "It's time to prepare for war." 6 months passed since Earth's dramatic exit from the Galactic Council. The initial shock had faded into a tense quiet. Most Council species expected humans to come crawling back once they realized how difficult life would be without access to shared trade routes and technology. But the humans never returned. Silk Thar of the Moran Confederacy sat in his private chamber, reviewing disturbing reports. 3 trading vessels had vanished in the past week alone. No distress signals, no debris fields, just complete disappearance. And they weren't the first. "Play the recording again," he ordered his aide, a nervous young Moran whose skin flickered between green and blue. The holographic display showed a cargo ship's final transmission, a blur of movement at the edge of the sensor range. Then nothing. Whatever had approached the ship had moved too fast for the sensors to track properly. "The Council blames pirates," said the aide. Silk Thar's upper eyes blinked in disagreement. "Pirates leave evidence. They want others to know they are dangerous." He traced one long finger along the blur in the recording. "This is something else. The humans, perhaps. Retaliation for the resolution. Humans are direct. If they attacked our ships, they would want us to know it was them." Silk Thar switched off the display. "Send investigators to the Vega sector. That's where most disappearances have occurred." On Mars, Dr. Olivia Grant entered her security code and stepped into the massive underground facility. The air smelled of metal and ozone. Workers in cleanroom suits moved around enormous machines that hummed with energy. This was Project Prometheus, humanity's best-kept secret. "Dr. Grant," called a voice behind her. General Frank Martinez approached, his uniform crisp despite the early hour. "The Joint Chiefs are eager for an update." Olivia led him to an observation deck overlooking the main chamber. Below them, technicians swarmed around 7 sleek vessels. Unlike traditional Earth ships, these had no visible engines or weapons ports. Their dark hulls seemed to swallow light. "The prototype fleet is ready," Olivia said. "All systems are performing above expectations in simulations." "And the drive system?" Martins asked, his voice hushed despite their privacy. "The quantum displacement drive works perfectly. The ships can move without using traditional spacetime. They can appear and disappear at will." Olivia allowed herself a small smile. "The Council has nothing like it. They still think faster than light travel requires massive energy signatures." Martinez nodded. "And they never let us develop it while we were members." "Their mistake," Olivia replied. The general's communicator beeped. He read the message and frowned. "It's starting," he said. "The first scout ships have been detected near the outer colonies." "The Racnor?" Olivia asked, her throat suddenly dry. "Most likely, just as we predicted." Martinez looked at the ships below. "How soon can we deploy?" "Immediately. The crews have been training for months." "Then let's hope we're ready." The general stared at the prototype ships. "Because the Council certainly isn't." In his cabin in the Colorado mountains, former Ambassador William Carter chopped wood despite the autumn chill. The physical labor helped clear his mind. His secure phone rang, interrupting his rhythm. The caller ID showed it was Lisa Donovan. Carter answered immediately. "They're here," Lisa said without greeting. Carter set down his axe. "How many?" "Just scout ships so far, testing our defenses, but the main fleet will follow soon." Lisa paused. "The Council still doesn't understand what's coming." "Did we get everything in place?" "Yes. The mining colonies are hidden. The fleet is dispersed according to plan. Earth's defenses are at full capacity without being obvious from orbit." Carter looked up at the clear blue sky. Somewhere up there, an ancient enemy was approaching, one the Council had ignored warnings about for decades. "What about Project Prometheus?" he asked. "First ships launch tonight. Silent deployment." Carter nodded, though Lisa couldn't see him. "And the Council? They've noticed ships disappearing. They're investigating, but they're looking in the wrong places for the wrong things. They'll figure it out soon enough," Carter sighed. "When they do, they'll come begging for our help." "Should we give it?" Lisa asked. Carter considered the question. The Council had tried to cage humanity, but billions of innocent lives were at stake across the galaxy. "We'll help," he finally said, "but on our terms this time. The galaxy's about to change forever, Lisa. Let's make sure it changes for the better." The Maran colony world of Verix IV burned. From orbit, the once green planet now glowed with red fire spots across its surface. Massive ships hung in space above the world, their dark hulls shaped like arrowheads. They were nearly 3 times the size of the largest Council warships. The emergency session of the Galactic Council had been going for 6 hours straight. Representatives argued, shouted, and some even wept. The attack on Verix IV had not been an isolated incident. In the past 3 days, 11 outer worlds had been hit. Millions were dead. Millions more had fled as refugees. "We need to establish who these invaders are," said Chairperson Valsheen, trying to maintain order in the chamber. A communication officer rushed in and handed her a datapad. Valsheen's silvery skin paled as she read the message. "They have identified themselves," she said, her voice shaking. "They call themselves the Rachnar. They've sent a message to all Council worlds." She pressed a button, and a hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. The beam displayed had a reptilian face with 4 yellow eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. Its scales were black with red markings. When it spoke, its voice was deep and had a strange echo. "People of this galaxy," it said, "we are the Rachnar, masters of 1,000 worlds beyond your rim. Your territories are now ours. Resistance will result in extinction. Submit, and you may live as our servants." The message ended. Silence filled the Council chamber. "What military forces can we gather?" asked the Xinthu representative, breaking the quiet. The Council military coordinator stepped forward. "Our peacekeeping fleet has already engaged the Rachnar at 3 locations. The results were," he paused, "not favorable. We lost 37 ships. We confirmed only 2 Rachnar vessels destroyed." Panic spread through the chamber. "The Council has maintained peace for 2,000 years, said Silthar. "Our ships are not designed for full-scale war." "What about the humans?" asked the Novan representative. His question silenced the room. "They withdrew from the Council, but they still have treaty obligations. Surely mutual defense applies." Valsheen nodded slowly. "We will request Earth's assistance immediately." In the White House Situation Room, President Susan Miller watched the Rachnar message with her top advisors. The room was quiet except for the sound of the alien's voice. When it ended, she looked at her Secretary of Defense. "How many ships do the Rachnar have?" she asked. "Our long-range sensors count approximately 300 capital ships and twice as many support vessels," he replied. "They're emerging from a region of space we call the Dark Sector. It's an area with unusual properties that block traditional scans." "And our forces?" Admiral Donovan answered from a screen on the wall. She was aboard the EFS Intrepid at Earth's Jupiter outpost. "The regular fleet has 120 combat-ready vessels. Project Prometheus has added 7 more with advanced capabilities." "Will it be enough?" asked the President. "Honestly, no," said Donovan. "But we're not fighting to win yet. We're fighting for time." A communication officer interrupted. "Madam President, we're receiving an urgent transmission from the Galactic Council. Chairperson Valsheen is requesting to speak with you directly." President Miller straightened her jacket. "Put her through." Valsheen's image appeared on the main screen. Her normally composed face showed signs of stress. "President Miller," she began, "I speak to you in a time of unprecedented crisis, An aggressive species called the Rachnar has attacked multiple Council worlds. Our forces are overwhelmed. I formally request Earth's assistance under the Mutual Defense Clause of our treaties." The room was silent as everyone looked at President Miller. This was the moment they had prepared for. "Chairperson," Miller replied, her voice calm, "we are aware of the Rachnar attacks. In fact, we've been tracking their movements for some time." Valsheen's eyes widened. "You knew they were coming. We tried to warn the Council years ago. Our scientists detected unusual activity in the dark sector. The Council dismissed our concerns as human paranoia. And yet you prepared," Valsheen said, understanding dawning in her eyes. "Yes, we prepared." Miller's expression was serious. "We will help, Chairperson, but not under the old terms, not as junior partners to be contained and controlled." "What do you want?" Valsheen asked, desperation creeping into her voice. "Ambassador Pearson will arrive at the Council chamber in 12 hours with our conditions," Miller said. "In the meantime, we're dispatching ships to help evacuate the systems in the Rachnar's path." The call ended, and President Miller turned to her advisors. "And so it begins," she said quietly. "Let's make sure we're ready." Ambassador Eric Pearson walked into the Council chamber exactly 12 hours later. Unlike the usual flowing robes diplomats wore, he was dressed in a simple dark blue uniform with the Earth emblem on his shoulder. The same emblem Carter had removed 6 months ago. 4 human security officers accompanied him, their faces serious. The chamber was packed. Every Council race had sent representatives, plus observers from non-Council worlds who feared they might be next on the Rachnar's path. The room grew quiet as Pearson approached the speaker's platform. "The people of Earth have watched the Rachnar attacks with great concern," Pearson began. "We have already deployed ships to help evacuate civilians from threatened systems. And we are grateful," said Valsheen. "But we need more than evacuation assistance. We need Earth's military power." Pearson nodded. "Earth is prepared to commit our full military resources to this fight. However, we have conditions." A murmur ran through the chamber. Valsheen motioned for quiet. "What conditions?" "First, full autonomy for all human territories. No more restrictions on our expansion or development." Pearson's voice was calm but firm. "Second, unrestricted research rights. No more oversight committees blocking human innovation." Silkthar stood up. "You cannot use this crisis to force your demands. Millions are dying while you negotiate." "Third," Pearson continued, ignoring the outburst, "permanent seats on all security councils, with equal voting rights to founding members." "This is outrageous," Silkthar shouted. "You abandoned the Council, and now you use our desperation to blackmail us." Valsheen raised her hand for silence. "Ambassador Pearson, surely there is room for compromise. You cannot possibly expect us to accept these demands while our worlds burn." Pearson's expression did not change. "Then we wish you good fortune in your war, Chairperson." He turned to leave. His security team moved with him toward the exit. "Wait," Valsheen called out. A junior aide had just handed her a datapad. Her hands trembled as she read it. 3 more systems have fallen in the past hour. The Rachnar are moving faster than we predicted." She looked up at the retreating human. "We accept your terms, Ambassador. All of them." Pearson turned back. "I'll inform President Miller immediately. Human forces will move to engage the Rachnar within the hour." As Pearson left the chamber, communications officers began receiving startling reports from across Council space. Human warships were appearing near threatened systems, not arriving from jump points, but simply appearing, as if they had been there all along. Captain Natalie Rivers sat in the command chair of the EFSS Dauntless, hidden in the shadow of a moon. Her ship had been in position for weeks, watching, waiting. The quantum displacement technology kept them invisible to both Council and Rachnar sensors. "Message from Command, Captain," her communications officer said. "Operation Thunderbolt is a go." Natalie smiled. "About time. Signal the fleet. Displacement drives to active mode." Target the Ragnar vessels in sectors 3 through 7. Across the bridge, her crew prepared for battle. Unlike the bright, open designs of Council ships, the Dauntless was built for war. Every station was protected by armor. Every system had backups. "Ma'am, Council forces are engaging the Ragnar in Sector 2. They're taking heavy losses." "Not for long," Natalie said. "Execute displacement jump on my mark." 3, 2, 1, mark. The Dauntless vanished from its hiding place. An instant later, it reappeared directly behind 3 Ragnar warships. Before the enemy could react, the human vessel fired its main weapons, not the energy beams the Council used, but concentrated gravity pulses that crushed the Ragnar ships from the inside out. Throughout the system, 15 other human ships appeared in similar fashion, striking from impossible angles. The Ragnar, caught by surprise, lost 11 vessels in the first minute of engagement. On the Council observation vessel, military officials watched in stunned silence. A Xinthu commander turned to his aide. "They had this capability all along," he whispered. "All this time, while we thought we were containing them." The aide nodded slowly. "Perhaps the question isn't whether humanity will defeat the Ragnar, but what happens to us when they do," finished the commander. As the battle raged, the Council began to understand what they had feared about humans, and why that fear would now save them all. The first major victory against the Ragnar came at Proxima Centauri. Admiral Lisa Donovan led a fleet of 30 human ships against a Ragnar force twice their size. Despite being outnumbered, the human fleet destroyed or disabled all enemy vessels. Only 3 human ships were lost. Council observers watched the battle from a safe distance. Their sensors struggled to track the human vessels, which seemed to flicker in and out of normal space during combat. "This technology," said a Trell scientist, studying the readings, "it rewrites everything we know about physics." After the battle, Admiral Donovan invited the Council observers aboard her flagship. They walked through corridors filled with busy crew members, all of whom stood straight and nodded respectfully as the group passed. "Your quantum displacement technology," said the Trell scientist, unable to contain his curiosity. "How long have humans possessed it?" "The basic theory. About 20 years, Donovan replied. "Working prototypes. About 7 years. The Council members exchanged glances. 7 years ago, humans had still been Council members, supposedly sharing all major technological breakthroughs. They entered a large meeting room where Dr. Olivia Grant waited with holographic displays of Ragnar ship movements. "Dr. Grant will explain what we know about the Ragnar," said Donovan, "and why we've been preparing for them since before we left the Council." Olivia activated a hologram showing the small scout ship. 15 years ago, a human mining operation in the dark sector found this vessel damaged but intact. Inside were records dating back thousands of years. The Council members leaned forward, their attention caught. "The Ragnar are conquerors who expand in cycles," Olivia continued. "Every 1,000 years, they send scout ships to neighboring galaxies. If they find advanced civilizations capable of fighting back, they wait and build up their forces. If they find only weak or primitive species, they invade immediately." She changed the display to show a series of dated star charts. "Your Council detected these scout ships multiple times over the centuries, but classified them as spatial anomalies. We captured one and learned the truth." "Why didn't you bring this to the Council immediately?" asked a Moran representative. "We did," Donovan said sharply. "We presented evidence to the Science Directorate. They dismissed it as human paranoia and overreaction. Our warnings were ignored," Olivia added. "Worse, when we tried to develop defensive technologies, the Council blocked us at every turn. Resolution 3197B was just the final straw." Silthar's 4 eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of distress in his species. "You left the Council because you knew the Ragnar were coming." "We left because staying meant death," said Donovan. "Not just for humans, but for every Council species. We needed to prepare, and you wouldn't let us." The room fell silent As the council members absorbed this information, "How do we defeat them?" asked a Ventari official finally. Olivia changed the display again, showing a complex orbital pattern. "The Rachnar homeworld is here, in this system. They've conquered thousands of worlds, but they maintain central control from this location. Their society is hierarchical. Destroy the leadership, and their empire will fracture." "Can your quantum drives reach their homeworld?" asked the Trell scientist. "Not yet," Donovan admitted. "The technology has limits, but we're working on extending its range." As the briefing continued, a junior officer entered and whispered something to Donovan. The Admiral's face grew serious. "The Rachnar have changed tactics," she announced. "They're bypassing military targets and striking directly at civilian worlds. Beta Colony is under attack now." The news shook everyone. Beta Colony was home to over 5 million beings from various species, including thousands of human settlers. "We need to go," said Donovan, standing up. "Evacuations are already underway, but we need to buy them time." As the council members hurried back to their shuttle, the Trell scientist paused beside Olivia. "If humans had shared this technology earlier, you would have restricted it or taken it from us," Olivia finished for him. "Just like every other human innovation deemed too dangerous for the galaxy." The scientist had no reply. As their shuttle departed the human flagship, they watched the fleet prepare for another jump. Despite their fear of human potential, the council representatives now found themselves hoping that human potential would be enough to save them all. The battle for Beta Colony lasted 3 days. Human ships fought alongside council vessels to hold back the Rachnar assault while civilian transports evacuated the planet. The combined fleet took heavy losses, but managed to save over 4 million people. Not all ships escaped. When the last civilian transport struggled to lift off, Rachnar fighters closed in for the kill. Captain Peter Dawson of the EFS Challenger made a split-second decision. "All power to forward shields," he ordered. "Position us between that transport and the Rachnar. Give those people a chance to get clear." The Challenger took the hits meant for the civilian ship. Explosions rocked the vessel as Rachnar weapons tore through its weakened rear shields. "Transport is away, Captain," reported his tactical officer. "They've reached safe jump distance." Dawson nodded. On the view screen, he could see 3 more Rachnar warships approaching. The Challenger's engines were damaged, its weapons nearly depleted. "Send a message to Admiral Donovan," he said calmly. "Tell her it's been an honor." Then he addressed his crew. "We can't outrun them, but we can still hurt them. Overload the quantum displacement drive and set collision course with the lead Rachnar ship." His crew worked quickly, their faces showing determination rather than fear. The Challenger accelerated toward the largest enemy vessel. "Displacement drive at critical levels," reported the engineer. "Containment failing. Now." The Challenger vanished in a flash of blue-white light. When the energy dissipated, both it and 2 Rachnar warships were gone. The quantum displacement drive's explosion had torn a hole in space-time, taking the ships with it. News of the Challenger's sacrifice spread quickly through both human and council space. Captain Dawson and his crew were hailed as heroes by all species. On the Moran refugee ship Hopeful Journey, Trellis Venn recorded the events in her personal journal. As the official council historian, she had seen many conflicts, but nothing like this war. "Perhaps we feared humans for the wrong reasons," she wrote. "Their capacity for war is matched only by their capacity for compassion, and both stem from the same relentless drive that defines them." She paused her recording when a human medic entered the crowded ship bay where thousands of Moran refugees huddled. The human moved from family to family, checking injuries, offering medicine and kind words despite the obvious exhaustion on his face. "How long have you been working?" Trellis asked when he reached her. "About 30 hours, he replied with a tired smile. "But who's counting? You should rest." The medic shook his head. "Too many people need help." He moved on to the next family, kneeling beside a frightened child with a burned arm. Trellis continued her journal entry. Humans throw themselves into everything, war, medicine, science, with the same intensity. It is what made us fear them. It is also what might save us all. On Earth, President Miller addressed the United Nations. The room was packed with representatives from every human nation. The Rachnar believe they can break our alliance with the Council by targeting mixed settlements like Beta Colony, she said. They think species that have lived separately for so long cannot truly fight together. She gestured toward screens showing images from around Earth. Dome habitats built to house Council refugees. In every major city, these structures now sheltered thousands of displaced aliens. We will prove them wrong, Miller continued. Earth has opened its doors to those fleeing the conflict. We fight not just for human worlds, but for all people of this galaxy. The assembly erupted in applause. When it quieted, Miller's expression grew more serious. But this is just the beginning. The Rachnar are adapting to our tactics. Their next wave of attacks will be stronger, more targeted. We must be ready. In deep space, Admiral Donovan reviewed the battle reports with her command staff. The losses were significant, but the Rachnar advance had been slowed. They're studying our quantum displacement technology, said her tactical officer. The element of surprise won't help us much longer. Donovan nodded. Then we need something new. She opened a secure channel to Mars. Dr. Grant, it's time to activate Project Ascension. The war is entering its next phase, and we need every advantage we can get. 1 year into the war, the galaxy had changed. Old borders meant little now. Species that had barely spoken to each other now fought side by side. The Rachnar had united the galaxy in a way the Council never could. Through shared struggle and sacrifice, the defense of Ta City became a turning point. Field Commander Ashley Wright led a mixed fleet of human, Moran, Trell, and Xinthu ships against a major Rachnar assault force. Her flagship, the EFS Valiant, took heavy damage in the fighting. From her damaged bridge, Ashley coordinated the four-species fleet with calm efficiency. Smoke filled the air and emergency lighting cast red shadows across tired faces. Despite having different biology, different cultures, and different tactics, the Allied forces fought as one under her command. Maran cruisers target the Rachnar supply ships, she ordered. Xinthu fighters provide cover for the Trell medical vessels. Human destroyers move to Sector 5 and prepare for quantum jump on my signal. The battle raged for 14 hours. When it ended, the Rachnar had been driven back. Ta City and its 2 billion inhabitants were saved. As damage control teams worked to repair the Valiant, representatives from each species gathered in the ship's conference room. The air filtration systems had been adjusted to accommodate the different breathing needs of the visitors. What we did here today, Ashley said, looking at each alien face around the table, proves something important. We are stronger together than apart. She activated a holographic display showing the galactic map with current battle lines. The old council tried to control its members, to keep everyone in their proper place. It failed because no real partnership can exist when one side dictates to the others. The alien commanders nodded in agreement. The Maran captain, once a strong supporter of council authority, spoke up. The council feared human ambition. We thought you wanted to conquer us. Now we see your true strength is in building connections, not walls. We need a new form of galactic organization, Ashley continued. Not a council ruling from above, but an alliance of equals, each contributing according to their strengths. The ideas discussed in that damaged ship spread quickly across Allied space. Species that had been council subjects for thousands of years found themselves valued as partners for the first time. Humans demonstrated a talent for integrating diverse approaches into effective strategies, while other races contributed unique perspectives and technologies. On Mars, Dr. Olivia Grant led a team of scientists from 7 different species. They worked day and night on Project Ascension in a facility that had once been restricted to humans only. The Xinthu engineer studied complex equations floating in holographic display. "This could work," he said, "but the power requirements are enormous." "We can handle the power," replied Olivia. "What we need is your expertise with quantum field manipulation." The Xinthu looked surprised. "My people were never allowed to work on such advanced physics under council rules." "Those days are over," Olivia said. "We need every mind, every insight, every unique perspective to beat the Rachnar." A council observer who had been sent to monitor the project approached Olivia during a break. "This weapon you're building," he said quietly, "will it destroy the Rachnar completely?" Olivia shook her head. "Ascension isn't designed to exterminate. We don't seek their extinction, just their surrender. Every sentient species deserves a chance to evolve beyond their worst instincts, even after all they've done." The observer asked, "All the worlds destroyed, all the lives lost?" "Especially then," Olivia replied. "If we answer genocide with genocide, we become what we fight against. Humans learned that lesson through our own bloody history." The observer considered her words carefully. The old council would never have seen it that way. Power was for control, weapons were for destruction. "That's why we need something new," Olivia said. "Not just to win this war, but to build something better after it ends." The message from Earth arrived that evening. Project Ascension was given top priority. All resources of the new alliance would support its completion. The final phase of the war was about to begin, and with it, the future of the galaxy would be decided. The final confrontation with the Rachnar took place in the Sagittarius Arm. The combined alliance fleet, nearly 2,000 ships strong, jumped into position around the Rachnar homeworld. Every vessel carried components of Project Ascension, each piece useless alone but powerful when combined. Admiral Lisa Donovan stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching as the enemy responded to their arrival. The Rachnar home defense fleet was massive. Over 3,000 warships arranged in defensive layers around their planet. "They've been expecting us," Lisa said to her second-in-command. "They've pulled back forces from across the galaxy to defend their center." "Just as we hoped," he replied. "Their outer territories are weakened." Lisa nodded and opened a channel to the entire Alliance fleet. "All ships, this is Admiral Donovan. Begin Ascension deployment. Defensive formations as planned." The battle that followed lasted 3 days. Ships from 37 species fought with coordination that would have seemed impossible just a year earlier. The Rachnar fought fiercely, but they were facing an enemy unlike any they had encountered before. Not a single species or even a loose coalition, but a true alliance with a shared purpose. On the second day, Project Ascension was finally assembled. Dr. Olivia Grant monitored the system from a heavily protected science vessel near the center of the Alliance formation. "All components are linked and functioning," she reported to Admiral Donovan. "We're ready to activate." "What about the Rachnar civilians on the planet?" Lisa asked. "Are they protected?" "Yes, Admiral. The field will not harm any living beings. It only affects communications and control systems." Lisa took a deep breath. "Activate Project Ascension." Olivia pressed her hand against the activation panel. Energy surged through the network of devices spread throughout the Alliance fleet. A wave of blue light expanded outward, enveloping the Rachnar homeworld and their ships. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then suddenly, the Rachnar attack patterns became chaotic. Some ships stopped firing. Others turned away. "It's working," Olivia said, watching the data stream across her monitors. "Ascension isn't a weapon. It's a communication system. It's bypassing the Rachnar leadership and broadcasting directly to their population and warriors." The truth about the Rachnar divine conquest mandate was now reaching every member of their species simultaneously. The ruling caste had maintained control for thousands of years by convincing their people that conquest was a religious duty. Project Ascension revealed this as a lie, a control mechanism used by the elite to maintain power. Within hours, reports came in from across Rachnar space. Civil conflict had erupted on dozens of worlds as lower castes rose up against their leaders. Many Rachnar ships surrendered to Alliance forces, their crews no longer willing to die for a false cause. Admiral Donovan opened a channel to the Ragnar homeworld. "People of the Ragnar Empire," she said, "we offer you a choice. Continue this war that your leaders started with lies, or join the Galactic Alliance as equal members. Not as conquerors or conquered, but as partners in building a better future." 5 years later, representatives from 37 species gathered on a newly constructed space station at the border between former Council and Ragnar Space. Former Ambassador William Carter, now elderly but still sharp, watched as President Miller signed the Galactic Alliance Charter on behalf of Earth. The document was unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. It guaranteed rights for all sentient beings. It protected the sovereignty of each species while creating frameworks for cooperation. And most surprisingly to some, reformed Ragnar representatives were among the signatories. "I never thought I would see this day," said Silthar, standing beside Carter. The Moran had become one of the strongest supporters of the Alliance after seeing how humans operated during the war. "We didn't leave the Council to abandon galactic society," Carter told him. "We left because true cooperation can only exist between equals who respect each other's sovereignty and value each other's differences. Sometimes the stars need to tremble before they can realign into something stronger." As the ceremony concluded, ships from all Alliance members performed a synchronized jump to light speed, creating a spectacular stellar display. The light from their engines formed a new constellation visible across thousands of worlds, a symbol not of dominance, but of partnership among the stars.